It was funny. A good friend of mine sent me an article, or posted an article, I should say, for a lot of people to read about the origins of the words "fake it till you make it" and the con artist who made it popular. It doesn't necessarily say that he's the one who created the term, but it's odd that it's actually became a popular catchphrase in American culture due to a pyramid scheme and a con artist. Kind of reminded me. I don't know if anybody ever saw the old W.C. Fields comedies. A lot of them were pretty forgettable as far as, just being more or less a product of their times. There was one in particular that I actually did like. It was called The Old-Fashioned Way, where he plays a con artist with an acting troupe. He's deep in debt to everybody. He's always talking real slick to get around paying debts, or being able to get out of paying rent, or being able to, basically just bamboozle all his creditors and all the people that are trying to get money off of him. And he's always lying to his acting troupe about how much money they're going to make, how the theaters are always sold out, etc., etc. That's kind of who I thought about when I read this article. It's funny, that particular film is called The Old-Fashioned Way. It revolves around a play called The Drunkard, a 19th century play that actually helped inspire the entire temperance movement. The people like... what was the lady's name? Carrie Nation, I think was her name. She used to run into bars during the Prohibition with an axe and actually hit people's liquor, bottles of liquor and stuff like that. The moonshine was the word I was looking for. Bathtub gin and those kinds of things. I've been pretty drunk in my life, but I've never been drunk enough that I don't think if some lady was coming at me with a hatchet in her hand swinging it, that I wouldn't have ran like hell. But the temperance movement actually began long before Prohibition. In the 19th century, and part of it was motivated by the very play in that film. In fact, I kind of wonder if W.C. Fields, in the film where he's playing this con artist theater manager, he wasn't doing kind of a tongue-in-cheek make fun of the whole entire thing, because he was notorious for his drinking, and he was notorious for a lot of other antics. But fake it till you make it, for some reason, always had an obscene sound to it. I don't know why, to me, in AA meetings, when I'd hear people talk about fake it till you make it. I mean, it just, I don't know. There was something about it that just rubbed me the wrong way. It was just, I don't know what it was. I just didn't like the wording of it. Of course, you'd be hard-pressed to find any slogan that I like the wording of when it comes to the cult religion of today. But it never made sense to me that you're supposed to fake it till you make it when they have an entire program that's supposed to be about rigorous honesty, being brutally honest, where in one part of the big book, Bill W. makes fun of people who have quit drinking and are saying they feel better and don't miss it and are having a better time. He says inward, he laughs at these people because they're like a schoolboy whistling in the dark. So apparently it was okay for Bill W. to make fun of people who were trying to fake it till you make it, but old-timers can throw that advice out in AA meetings and people are supposed to swallow it up, even though they're supposed to be brutally honest and they're supposed to not be able to transmit what they don't have. That was another thing that I used to think was hilarious, that they'd say you can't transmit something you don't have, when all those people were full of shit, phony fake con artists, bullies, manipulators, schemers, and the list goes on and on and on. But make what exactly? I mean, if you fake it for the first 30 days and you say, well, I got 30 days of, sobriety today, they'll tell you, oh, you're not really sober yet. You haven't done all the steps. You don't even understand spiritual principles yet. You don't know anything. You do. You blah, 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 blah. Fake it till you get 90 days. They'll tell you most people get drunk after 90 days. They'll berate you for not understanding anything and how it works yet. They'll tell you it takes 3 to 5 years to get walking around sense, as one stupid old-timer used to call it. Fake it till you make it for 6 months. They'll tell you that they'll give you the same old tired lines. Make it a year, get them a year medallion, and there'll be a whole entire parade of these assholes telling you how now the real work begins. And then they'll tell you that after 5 years, the road narrows and you're closer to a drink than ever. The further away you are from a drink, the closer you are to the next drink. So fake it till you make what exactly? What point are you supposed to get to in this whole entire cult religion where you could say, well, for a long time I was faking it and now I finally made it, Is it supposed to be after you do all 12 steps? Because they'll tell you after you do all 12 steps, if you drink again, you didn't really do all 12 steps. You didn't want the program bad enough. You really weren't serious about it. You weren't willing to do the work. You were not as willing as only the dying can be and all that other kind of thing. So obviously, you don't fake it till you do all 12 steps. You don't fake it till you do 90 days. You don't fake it till you do a year. And most of the old-timers I see are not happy, joyous, and free. They're miserable, sad sack fucks that take great pleasure in the pain and suffering of others. In fact, there was a funny thing I want to throw out before I jump into this article. There was a complete, utter asshole I used to know in the meetings that would he loved to bully the relapsers. He loved to prey on the newcomer girls that were straight out of treatment. He used to really make fun of the homeless people that hung outside. He would literally come up to them and wave money in their face and stick it back in his wallet, talk about, you have to get a job to have these kinds of things. That's what kind of bastard he was. But I saw on his Facebook profile one time several years ago before I blocked most of these people, he had this thing, if you have to beat people down in order to feel strong, then you're not strong. I thought, oh, so let me guess. The shoe got put on the other foot, and you got to experience some of the vile mistreatment that you dole out to people with impunity. But when somebody did it to you, all of a sudden it wasn't okay. That's a sign of a weak person. They're not strong if they did that to me. No, it's okay when you do it, just not okay when people do it back to you, or maybe call you out for the lying, manipulative piece of shit that you really are, that gets high off of crushing the less fortunate, that kicks your chair of holier than thou out from under you. But anyway, to dive into this article that they sent me, it was an opinion piece. It's from the Washington Post, so I actually can't read it without subscribing, so I had it gifted to me. I'll post a link in the video description in case anybody can actually access the Washington Post. But it says, this all but forgotten con man sold America on fake it till you make it. And for some reason I pictured W.C. Fields from that comedy again. W.C. Fields was either playing the bumbling husband that was at the mercy of the nagging wife and kids, or he was playing the manipulative con artist in the old-fashioned way. He's kind of playing a mixture of both, but that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing W.C. Fields with his hat and his cigar and his fast-talking one-liners trying to wiggle his way out of every situation. But Glenn W. Turner is now all but forgotten. This salesman extraordinaire in flashy suits was once all but omnipresent in American life. Turner, the son of a sharecropper, told people they could all be rich and successful like him if, that is, they made an investment in his multi-level marketing company. That's right. Give me all your money and you'll be rich like me. What could possibly go wrong with a scheme like that, right? They would peddle mink oil makeup, never heard of that one, and his Dare to Be Great motivational tapes. Dare to Be Great motivational tapes. I can tell you there's a few things that I've seen in the online world today that I can actually see they should retitle their things Dare to Be Enlightened Like Me, kind of shit. But anyway, he collected a lot of money by recruiting others and taking a percentage of their sales. In other words, give me all your money, go out and preach my message, but if you do make any money, you got to give me a kickback for it. But this is totally legit. It's on the up and up, When newly minted salespeople found it impossible to make a go of what he was selling, they were told to fake it until you make it by wearing expensive clothes, waving around $100 bills to lure in others. And a disillusioned Oregon recruit testified in court in 1972. A few months later, another seller would tell a Florida courtroom that he too had been instructed to fake it till you make it. When the Securities and Exchange Commission filed a complaint against Turner's company, a judge cited the phrase, fake it till you'll make it, as evidence of malfeasance. In other words, a judge actually heard the term fake it till you make it, and he said, this sounds like a deceptive practice put into place. Now, I'm going to skip a little bit here because it kind of touches upon this optimistic mindset that the writer of this article, this opinion piece, is saying has permeated into our everyday cultural lives, which there was a term I heard not too long ago. It was called toxic positivity, which I've seen some of that in AA. You shouldn't complain. You shouldn't complain about anything. You ought to be fucking grateful that you're here and alive. A lot of people are dead, Well, you're just so ungrateful. Why don't you get grateful? Get over it. That kind of attitude is what I'm talking about. Not to mention the toxic positivity crowd of the people that are all, their head is way up in the clouds and everything is light and love and the universe revolves around nothing but light and love. There's no pain. There's no starvation. There's no cancer. There's no war. There's no famine. There's nothing but your bad attitude that's fucking the universe up kind of idea is what they're calling into question. Now, they're kind of building a case that there is some roots here in this particular type of phraseology, but that's a whole entire another topic, so I'm going to skip a little bit here to a writer of false prophets spelled profits like money, seeking financial and spiritual deliverance in multi-level and marketing and pyramid schemes, has said it's an inherently manipulative, deceptive, fraudulent, inauthentic tactic but it's just entered our culture one day and seems to be completely normalized. It goes on to talk about certain snake oil salesmen, certain con artists, certain people. It even goes on to mention a few politicians, which politicians caught in the act of lying and being deceptive is that should surprise nobody in today's world in my own mind. It draws on older strains of American life, the article goes on to read, about marrying psychological concepts on how to change human behavior with this positive thinking self-help culture that might as well be America's unofficial state religion. How many times, if you have a small complaint in the world, are you told, or at least I was told growing up, think about people who have it harder than you, which always made me feel worse because I would think to myself, well, yeah, people got it harder than me. I feel bad about this situation, so that really makes me a useless human being to actually feel ungrateful right now because people got it harder than I do. Or the people that'll tell you, think about other people who are going through worse than you, which, like I said, would always make me feel a whole lot worse. Or the idea that you're supposed to be grateful no matter what under any circumstances and never give voice to a negative thought, a pessimistic idea, or anything else, lest you be labeled as some kind of horrible person for a result of it. AA has a lot of that in their own weird subculture, even though it's perfectly fine for old-timers to be grouchy and it's perfectly fine for old-timers to be mean and bullying. But if a newcomer comes in and says, I've got 45 days sober today and I'm just not in a good place and I just really don't like being without a drink during all these trying and tumultuous times, then they'll be berated, jumped on, chastised, told to go get drunk, and all the other kind of thing, because out there you feel bad when you just quit drinking, and complain about it. You're supposed to be all grateful for it and all that, It goes on to talk about how the fake it till you make it term spread through a lot of multi-level marketing efforts, for-profit corporations in pyramid schemes and things like that. It's funny. Not too long ago, somebody said that the similarities between AA and a pyramid scheme was almost uncanny. Or I forgot the one pyramid scheme that's really popular. I mean, I used to get emails from them all the time until I just started hitting spam on all of it. But there is some truth to that. I guess that would be worth another video. But the part of the article that jumps out to me the most is the first thing these people do. The opinion writer of this article, the first thing he does is he gives Alcoholics Anonymous a pass for using it. He says, even after the salesman Turner got arrested on 86 counts of violating security laws, I guess his pyramid scheme didn't work out too well on faking it till he made it. He faked his way right into jail. And, the phrase gained popularity in an earnest context in Alcoholics Anonymous, an earnest context. There it appeared as a way for people in recovery to project themselves forward into a more sober future. Today, the phrase is also a way to push back on feelings of self-doubt we call imposter syndrome, or put forward an advantage, personal or professional confidence that we might not entirely feel. But faking it in matters of money is another matter entirely. Totally disagree. It's really disconcerting so many times that when you... Anytime you see something about Quackaholics Anonymous in any kind of print or news medium whatsoever, it always gets a free pass. It's literally, you have to search far and wide to find anything that's even going to be remotely critical of the cult religion, telling people to fake it till they make it by more or less telling them to stuff your feelings. They tell you to be brutally honest in the meetings, but they'll also encourage you to stuff your feelings deep down inside. Don't you dare complain. Don't you dare be ungrateful. Don't you dare... feel sad above all things. There's a never-ending parade of old-timers. Oh, I'm not here to baby you. This isn't kindergarten. You're not in a daycare center. I'm not going to get you an emotional support animal, and all that other underhanded bully and asshole way they have of talking to people, which is funny because they're usually the weakest of the entire lot. For all their tough talk, they're really cowardly bullies at heart that will run from a confrontation. But nobody's asking to be babied. When they get to recovery. Nobody's asking to be babysitted or treated like they're in a daycare center. Nobody's asking to be treated like a little child in kindergarten and given an emotional support blanket or something like that. People are just trying to be rigorously honest about their feelings like they tell them to do. And then when they're rigorously honest about their feelings, it doesn't actually, it invites you to be chastised, scorned, mocked, ridiculed, and made fun of. And then when you drink again, you're told you just didn't want to get sober bad enough. I was going to say that I spent a great deal of my life trying to do the feeling stuffing's bit. And what I mean by that is I still do it today. I mean, in some degree, shape, form, or fashion. There are things I got going on right now. I got this dispute going on with a hospital when I got sick last winter that I don't know how it's going to turn out. It has stressed me out. And of course, I have to put on my game face and go out into the world and pretend there's nothing wrong with me. But in private, or when I'm alone, or when I'm talking to a real good friend of mine, the stuff in my feelings is saying, ain't nothing wrong with me. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with me. I got balls of steel and nothing bothers me. I just brush it off like that and trying to pretend you're the Teflon Don when you got real problems in your life without being able to acknowledge them has never been a healthy coping mechanism for me. I'm not saying I'm one of these people that goes around with my heart on my fucking sleeve telling everybody, how sincere and earnest and apologetic I am about, all my sorrows or whatever the fuck. But at the same time, trying to pretend that you're not sad, trying to pretend you're not depressed, trying to pretend that you're not dealing with emotional turmoils that are going on in your everyday life has never proven a healthy coping strategy for me. As a matter of fact, many times in my life, I would actually turn up a bottle in order to numb the things that I couldn't really talk to openly about anybody. Then you get to AA and you put the bottle down and you're told to be rigorously honest. You're told you're accepted for who you are. And then when you talk openly about what you're feeling and what you're thinking and where your doubts and your apprehensions lie, then you're made fun of and scorned and ridiculed and mocked and told that you don't want to get sober bad enough. Or you're told, why don't you just fake it till you make it? Fake it till you make it is a piss poor coping strategy, whether it's a money-making pyramid scheme or whether it's in some phony fucking recovery religion. And I didn't know exactly where this video was going to go when I started it off, but I've gone 16 minutes about it. But let me know in the comments what you think on that one, the fake it till you make it, your experiences with that. It's funny, a lot of the old-timers I've seen would blame people for drinking again by not being honest. They just weren't honest. But then when those people were honest, they were told that they were ungrateful and just didn't want recovery bad enough. It's kind of funny. It's like this article I stumbled across last time. Well, actually, if I get into that, that'll be another video. So just hold the thought of where I ended this one on, and I'll pick back up the next time that I upload one of these. Later.